So today I'm going to take you through my functional training workout. For the first hour of the workout, I focused exclusively on mobility stuff, and I have my full mobility routine in a previous video. Um, so I did a lot of stuff from that video, but this is just the ending. There are a few movements here that are not in that video. So here what I'm doing is trying to get a really good stretch in the glute. I'm holding the cable on the same side as the as the leg that's bent, so it's like a pigeon stretch. As the cable is pulling you, what happens is it forces your body to bend into the leg that's bent and on flat on the floor. This forces the IT band to stretch. The IT band stretch you'll feel along the side of your leg going into the side glute. What this ends up doing is then tugs on your lat. So that's tugging on your lat in the downward direction while the cable is pulling you towards it as well. This allows you to get a complete stretch in those chains of muscles. In your mind, what you want to picture is the IT band stretching, your glute stretching, and pulling on the lat. The lat, the cable is then tugging on your lat. When you're bending down, you slowly want to relax the muscles in that chain and feel the stretch all the way into your rear delts, your scapula, your rotator cuff. This next movement is a cable good morning, but instead of holding it with both arms, I'm holding it with just one arm. What this allows me to do is singularly focus on the stretch of the lat on one side, while having both legs kind of stretch at the same time, although you will feel a deeper stretch on the side on which you're holding the cable. Another thing that you can do is you'll notice that my hand is on the floor. You can use the empty hand to push on the floor and direct your body into different directions. You will notice that the stretch that you feel in your lat and your lower back is a lot different depending on what angle you apply force into the ground. I play around with a bent elbow position, uh, and or like first I'll have my palm on the floor, then I'll slowly lower into my elbow. This angle is a little bit more clear. Um, so yeah. So you'll notice I start off with my palm and then I'm slowly bending into my elbow, and I'm using my elbow now to push side to side to feel a deeper stretch in the lat insertion into the hip. So for the sake of this workout, I did this whole thing for an hour. The reason for doing these movements for an hour and also like supersetting and giant setting all of this is, in my experience, this seems to have really loosened my hips and also make me really ready to perform more compound movements and just the make the overall feeling while performing quote unquote functional movements a lot more seamless, a lot more smooth. There's a lot lesser stiffness and yeah. So try this giant set out. Um, Actually, one other thing I would recommend is if you know a hip flexor stretch, if you can tag that along at the end of this. I didn't do that. I did that at the sauna at the end of the workout today. But if you can tag along a hip flexor stretch at the end of this, how you feel at the hips is amazing after. If you're someone with really tight hips, try out this giant set, and then along with that, if you can, put a hip flexor stretch at the end, and your hips will feel amazing. Anyway, that's it for the voiceover part of today. From here on out, it's gym commentary. Um, yeah, so enjoy the video. Alright, let's try this again. I did try to record during warm-ups, and not a whole lot got recorded. So I'll do a voiceover for that. And this next exercise is, so I'm going for landmine squats, but I'm going to stay on my toes the whole time, really focusing on stretching the quads the whole way. I'm leaning into the landmine, which allows me to maintain this position, which forces the quads to be recruited a lot more. Also, since you're on your toes, the calves are engaged. And you're able to train your knee through the full range of motion. If it's your first time doing it, go with just the bar, or even hold on to something and then do it with really lightweight. I'm gonna superset this with some suitcase deads. To make it more cardiovascularly intense. So I did mobility work for about an hour. I'm going to do pretty much landmine and some full body movements, athletic, sled, things that involve the full body, probably for another hour, hour and a half. Sit in the sauna for about 10-15 minutes depending on how I feel, and go from there. I like to have days where I focus exclusively on movements that are like this. So not a shoulder day, not a chest day, but pretty much a functional day, so to speak. You can even play around with different stances on the deadlift. So I'm going to do one set staggered just for the sake of it, and see how it feels. I have to say this is pretty awkward, but I started it, so I'm going to finish 10.
fourth set of this. 2 with 25, 1 with 225s, and now the fourth set with 325s. Ooh, that felt good. The next exercise is a lunge, but I'm gonna switch hands on each side at the top of the rep. So, first, start off here, do a lunge, have your back knee touch the floor, come up, switch hands, forward. Going for about, going till I get a really good burn, not necessarily till failure. I want to get good, clean reps and be able to explode for at least 3 or 4 sets. My goal is to get the range of motion and pretty much lift relatively heavy load through offset. But don't take too long between sets. Even if you're not trying to hit failure at the end of the set, you want to feel worked and tired, just not to the point of failure. Having the landmine be at an angle so when you lift it, it's moving this way. It almost creates a necessity for the glutes and hamstrings to drive the movement more. Personally, I'm able to connect a lot more with my hamstrings and glutes on the, well, I can connect with it on the lunges too, on regular lunges, but there just seems to be just a little extra oomph when I do it on the landmine. That's it for that. On to the next one. The only other piece of equipment that I use more than the Landmine is the Sled. So on the Sled, I'm doing one arm rows, but as an explosive full body motion. So I'm doing one arm, then pushing it back, and I'll do the other arm and push it back. The goal with this is to go as hard as possible, take some rest, and then do it again. This movement is really good, or this combination is really good, because when you're doing the rows, you're using your back, your lats, your arms, and your legs. Like while you're sitting down, kind of moving force from your leg into your lats, using those two as a unit to move the sled. And as you're pushing it forward, you're now driving with your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves, using your shoulders and chest to push. So doing this combination, you're working your entire body, and it'll get your heart rate going big time. By doing cardio in this way, using heavy weights and your whole body, which results in higher growth hormone and testosterone release, you're able to preserve more muscle than what you would if you just did regular cardio to lose fat. That doesn't mean regular cardio doesn't have its place. But if your goal is to preserve more muscle while doing a lot of cardio, in my experience, choosing cardio movements that also involve a lot of weight training aspects to it, a lot of resistance, leads to holding a lot more muscle while being in a deficit. Two sets, two more, and then I'll have to come up with something else. Hour and 37 minutes in. When you're rowing it, you're squatting, and then you're rowing as you come up. Squat and then row. start feeling tired and think about it too much and want to walk away from the weight, try to take a second. Instead, I just try to get back in the movement and then try and draw a line in the sand that I'm not going to stop till it's done. Then your body and your mind have to figure out ways to stay in the fight or to stay in the set, because you've made that agreement with yourself that you're not going to stop till the set ends or until all 4 sets finished. That's how you push yourself. And as you push yourself, your body adapts. And then you push yourself again. And it adapts again. 4 sets. Now, small break and on to the next. So with the cables, I'm gonna have them around my leg. And kind of like the popular bodyweight bicycle exercise, I'm gonna keep it up and then and then once that's exhausted, lay flat and just do alternate legs. Try to use your hip flexors and your lower abs. You want to picture trying to kick or knee or chest. Cramp. But yeah, let me get rid of these cramps, and I'm gonna do 3 more sets of this. So I did 3 sets of the abs, and I'm gonna end off with some forearms. This time I'm gonna take the time to explain some of these forearm motions more clearly. So when you're training the forearm, so this is a wrist rotation. At the bottom here, so you're applying resistance through torque. So since the bar is offset, there's the center of balance is going to be somewhere around here. So the whole weight is kind of here. And what that does is when you suspend your wrist and your wrist is bent forward and then relaxed, it's stretching these entire set of muscle fibers on this side. And then so as you rotate, those then have to contract. And then as you turn, it's working a little bit of this. And then this area gets relaxed. It's stretched, and then you have to bring it forward or bring it back. A lot of people train wrist curls, this, maybe even this, like that's uncommon, but still, a motion that's often ignored is wrist rotation. It's almost like training the obliques of your wrists or your forearms. Your abs have the rectus abdominis, which are the 6-pack, and then the obliques and quadratus lumborum to help with side bends and rotation. Your wrist also has muscles on the sides of it that facilitate wrist, the side and all around it to facilitate wrist rotations and flexion and extension on either lateral flexion and lateral extension of the wrist. So take the time to train those movements as well. A lot of people seem to suffer from stiff joints and stuff as age goes on. I suspect if doing more training, doing more training of the wrist and not just the wrist, not just flexion and extension, but wrist rotation will help with joint health of the wrist in the long term. Also, having good forearms makes it veiny. Who doesn't want that? Then the other movement that I like to do is isolate this. You can see it move. So have it suspend, and then you're kind of just using the index finger to bring it up.